The Google Pixel 11 lineup is just around the corner, and it's actually crazy how much we already know about what to expect. Now, design-wise, Google is not doing a dramatic overhaul of the cycle, and honestly, that's probably the right call. Even though this would be year 3 for this design language, personally, I still like how it looks. I mean, it has that perfect pixel aesthetic. CAD renders even have surfaced, and it's looking like the lineup will be slimming down just a tad bit, and the Pro Fold will be getting its flash and microphone tucked inside the camera pill. The slab lineup could be getting thinner bezels, which would be nice, and the camera bar will be fully covered in glass. So that colored metal accent won't be there anymore. The contrasty, fully blacked out camera bar just looks really clean, and it kind of reminds me of the Pixel 6 series, which I really liked. According to a report, the Pixel 11 series could be getting Samsung's brand new M16 OLED displays, and if that happens, the Pixels would be the first phones to use these panels, and this would result in better color accuracy, better power efficiency, and higher peak brightness. Then there's IR Face Unlock, which was something that was rumored for a while, but I wouldn't hold your breath for this one because leakers state that it's simply not ready for 2026. I mean, ever since the Pixel 4, I've had my fingers crossed for a more robust and secure Face Unlock option, but it doesn't look like it's going to be happening this year. Maybe next year. Something that will be coming is Pixel Glow. It's looking like Google will be ditching that temperature sensor and will be adding some sort of LED light to alert you of notifications and whatnot. There have been a couple of concepts for this floating around, like an RGB LED array surrounding the camera bar, or even something that functions similar to the latest Nothing Phone's glyph interface placed inside the camera bar, but the truth is we don't actually know what it will look like just yet. Either way, for certain, it seems like we'll be getting some form of customizable notification and status indicator light in the next generation. And to be honest, I mean, I could see this being a complete gimmick, but personally, I've missed LED indicators ever since OEMs started to get rid of them, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one. Oh, and quick side note, the Pixel 11 wallpapers have already leaked too, and since Google is known to color match each phone's wallpaper with the phone itself, like the outside, there's speculation that these wallpapers might be giving us a general idea of what the different color variants for the Pixel 11s could be. I mean, what do you think? Now, going under the hood, the Pixel 11 series is going to run on Google's Tensor G6, codenamed Malibu, and the headline here is that this is built on TSMC's 2nm processor. Google could utilize a 7-core 1+4+2 configuration using ARM's C1 cores. I mean, you got your beefy performance core, the heavy lifting crew, and background task management. Now, there were some early leak benchmarks showing some shockingly low scores for the Pixel 11 and 11 Pro, but these were likely unoptimized prototypes. These aren't anything to go by for the actual phones. As for graphics, leaks are pointing toward a PowerVC C-Series GPU. And look, I'm going to be real with you, so far, signs are pointing towards this GPU's architecture being old. We're talking several years old. And what makes this very concerning too is that the Tensor G5 actually used a newer PowerVR DXT series GPU, so there's potential that graphics performance could take a bit of a hit. It's been known for a while that people don't actually buy the Pixel phones to run high, intense graphic games, to play at max settings, and instead they buy them for their cameras, AI features, and the software itself. The prevailing theory is that manufacturing on 2nm is expensive, and Google is cutting costs on the GPU while making big investments in other areas of more importance. And while they're doing just that by bringing in a new TPU for faster, smarter, and more capable AI, a new custom GXP image signal processor, and a new Titan M3 chip for beefed up hardware-level security. In addition to that, Google is expected to finally drop Samsung's Exynos modems for the MediaTek M90 modem, which will provide vastly improved signal and connectivity, which of course is very important, but the M90 will also provide better power efficiency, which should help with things like battery life as well. Huge thumbs up for that. Now, this new chipset would be a shift in architecture for Pixels, and while GPU performance takes the backseat yet again, the continued expectation is that this would mean a great deal for things like heat management, AI performance, sustained performance, better battery life, and overall better efficiency. Now, this is where the global memory crisis starts to rear its ugly head. The base Pixel 11 is rumored to drop down to just 8GB of RAM from 12GB on the Pixel 10. There's also potentially a 12GB option. For everyday use, I feel like 8GB of Tensor G6 efficiency should be fine, but it is a noteworthy on-paper regression nonetheless. Now, for the 11 Pro and Pro XL, leaks point to 12GB and 16GB configurations, instead of just being 16GB coming standard. This one is a bit of a quiet downgrade because it allows Google to maintain that 11 Pro pricing despite the RAM costs rising in the industry as a standard. A few weeks ago, I installed the Red Tiger F7NA dash cam inside my car, who's sponsoring this video, because honestly, you just never really know these days how many crazy drivers there are out there. First off, it comes with 2 cameras, so I've got a front and rear camera in the car that can record at the same time. The front camera captures 4K footage using a Sony IMX678 sensor, while the rear camera records in 1080p. So I have coverage from both directions, and the footage is seriously sharp. You can make out license plates, street signs, and other important details way better than a lot of cheaper dash cams that I've tested. It also performs insanely well at night too. Bright headlights don't completely wash out the image, darker roads stay visible, and overall the footage is much easier to see when driving after sunset. Plus, whenever I need to grab a clip, I can just do it straight from my phone using the Red Tiger app. It connects over fast 5.8 GHz Wi-Fi, so I don't have to pull out the SD card every time I want to just save or share a video. And because it has built-in GPS, every recording also includes location and speed information, which can also be really useful if you ever need evidence after an incident. I also like that you can control it directly from the touchscreen, or even use voice commands completely hands-free while you're driving. Take picture. Show rear camera. And unlike a lot of dash cams that use batteries, this one uses a supercapacitor, which is much better at handling hot and cold temperatures inside your car over time. I mean, it can operate smoothly from -20°C to 70°C. So if you've been thinking about getting a dash cam, definitely check out the Red Tiger F7NA through my exclusive link at the top of the description. Red Tiger's Prime Day sale runs from June 23rd to June 26th, and during those 4 days, you can use my code that you see right here on my screen to bring down the price to as low as $118.99. That's the lowest price available during this sale, but it's only available for those 4 days, so don't wait too long if you're interested. Now let's talk about the cameras. It's well known that Google doesn't swap out camera sensors very often and instead relies heavily on computational photography. This year, leaks are pointing to actual new sensors this time. The base Pixel 11 is reportedly getting a new 50 megapixel main sensor, a step up from the 48 megapixel sensor on the Pixel 10, though the ultra-wide and the telephoto are expected to carry over. The 11 Pro Fold, on the other hand, could be getting the same new 50 megapixel main sensor as the base 11. The rest of the lineup could also be receiving new main sensors as well. Google appears to be changing the hardware this cycle in a meaningful way. I mean, you just pair that with the new custom GXP/ISP and Tensor G6 AI chops, and this could be the best Pixel camera generation in years. I've been waiting for new camera hardware for quite a while, so this is great. Now here's what the leaks say for rated battery capacity. Now before you freak out, these are rated capacities, not typical or marketing numbers. Phone manufacturers almost always market the typical capacity, which is a bit higher. So the Pixel 11's 4,840 milliamp hour will probably be marketed as around 5,000 milliamp hours. These numbers might seem similar to, or even slightly smaller than last year's models, but I would assume the Tensor G6 move to 2 nanometers should mean considerably better power efficiency, so I'd expect better battery performance across the board regardless. The enthusiast in me would absolutely love a massive silicon carbon battery, but of course, that likely won't happen for a while. And then speaking of battery, the 11 Pro just might match its big brother with 45 watt fast wire charging. Obviously, I'm really hoping they could just make the leap to at least 60 watts. It's been long overdue, but hopefully this is the last time that we see anything lower than 60 watts. I'd also love to see 25 watt wireless charging in the regular Pro model as well. And then the 11 Pro Fold is rumored to feature a replaceable battery free from permanent adhesive by utilizing metal chassis and spring-loaded contacts, all while maintaining water resistance and wireless charging. This would be absolutely huge, especially if they somehow did this for the rest of the lineup. Now, as for the software, I have already made entire videos going through all the latest Android 17 features, so make sure to check out those through the cards after watching this video. But Google is really hyping up Android 17, boasting the biggest updates to Android ever. They're mostly centered around Gemini, whose interface is getting a more modern facelift, as well as a collection of quality of life features like contextual autofill across different Google services. There's Rambler, which looks to clean up and polish your voice dictations. You can use Gemini to generate and build custom home screen widgets, which is awesome. Can't wait for that one. There's also automation tasks that the Gemini can do. For example, it can order you concert tickets or maybe your food from DoorDash. And then there are other things like more expansive screen time and mindfulness features aiming to help users think about how they choose to spend their time on their phones. Then you've got things that have already begun rolling out, like enhanced security and parental controls, Bubbles, which essentially allows you to collapse any application into a Facebook chat head like Bubble, if you remember those. and screen reactions, which lets you record yourself while capturing the phone's display, which is super popular nowadays, especially on social media. The list goes on and on, so again, make sure you check out my other coverage in the cards, but expect a lot of great new software features to accompany the Pixel 11 lineup. In the end, the Pixel 11 series isn't exactly shaping up to be a massive, groundbreaking upgrade over the Pixel 10. However, there's absolutely a lot to like from both a hardware and software perspective. The refinements that appear to be on their way are just very meaningful and should significantly improve the already smooth, smart, and enjoyable experience, both inside and out. A big theme here is efficiency. From the display to the modem, almost every change is linked to making things run faster, smoother, cooler, and for longer. Leading up to the launch, I'm sure we'll get more and more information, and I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, make sure to get subscribed as I'll be covering these phones when they launch in just a couple months. Let me know what you guys think about the upcoming Pixel 11 series and what you're most excited about. Thanks for sticking around to the end, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Kapow!